Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased this morning to be able to share with you the story of Gift the Garden. I'd like to begin by asking you to close your eyes and take a breath and come with me on a journey of imagination. What if the sound of birdsong drowned out all traffic noise? What if our roads became creeks, rivers, forests, wildlife corridors, food forests, orchards with cycle paths, filled with laughing children racing each other to school on bikes, scooters, skateboards, and legs? What if your daily shopping routine meant walking the street, meeting your neighbours, picking up broccoli, kale, strawberries, beans, apples, avocados, and eggs, all from the street forest, or from the boxes that everyone places at the end of their drives for their excess produce? What if your daily commute to the office meant a stroll to the village hub, where your company has rented a hot desk for you, and Cora Club style all your drinks and refreshments are provided by thriving local businesses, much of which has been harvested that day, mainly from the street forests and the car parks and city farms? What if our driveways and garages, now redundant due to the e-car park by the village green and the excellent public transport services, are now filled to bursting with produce, wildlife, playgrounds for kids, entertainment spaces for socializing with friends, neighbours and whānau? The now redundant garages bringing that extra room for a tenant, granny, teenager or home business making honey, cider, cakes, woven baskets, or art. What if our rich, life-filled city-village soils are so renowned for their amazing work they do in sequestering carbon and hosting unprecedented biodiversity, that farmers embarking on a regenerative practice come to collect a bucketful every now and again to life seed their chemically impoverished soils? What if Friday nights comprised of street parties with barbecues, pizzas, games and laughter and swapping of homemade goodies and treats? What if we all gifted our gardens to all life? So now let's just take a moment to let our imaginations play with these ideas and then open your eyes. So, Gift the Garden. How did that come about? Well, the story goes something like this. All my life, I've been a change maker. My DISC profile apparently tells me that I see the world as imperfect and long to fix it. So, for the last 35 years, that's what I've been doing in the construction industry, creating tools and training courses for methods of faster, safer, cheaper, better ways of building. Until some 3 years ago, this all changed for me. I had been spending more and more time in my own quarter-acre central city farm, where I'd been learning to garden with nature, growing my own food, keeping bees and chickens, in my version of a paradise of the good life. As village people, my husband and I were not willing to sacrifice the ability to walk to the shops in order to live on a lifestyle block, so I had created a lifestyle block in the city. And one day, whilst loving my garden and spending time wondering why more people didn't do what I was doing, I received a very strong message, a loud thought which clearly said, "Amanda, be the change you want to see." So, setting to work, teaming up with friends, I'd converted my berm to a series of experiments for growing food for the community and wildflowers and long grass for wildlife. I began running workshops to share my garden and help others to learn how to garden with nature. I was asked to be president of my local garden club and began giving presentations locally around the country on how to garden for well-being. working with nature and places. NZ Gardener magazine ran a feature on our workshops. Pretty soon, at the workshops, I began to be asked to help others to design their spaces for nature, kai, and well-being. At this point, I supplemented my 35-year-old degree in landscape architecture with courses on permaculture, regenerative practice, living design, Whakaora, and began to help people to gift their gardens to all life. I teamed up with Naylor Love and Henderson Demolition to convert construction waste into beautiful gardens and wildlife habitat. The gardens are built by hand with friends and whānau volunteers to keep costs down and to build love into them. Projects have included so far an outdoor classroom and food forest for a garden-to-table school. This giant insect hotel was built by hand and filled by children. Volunteers created the garden in just 2 days, all from waste construction material. Another project, a nature therapist garden in the city, repurposing 18 tons of waste concrete, turned a lawn into a mandala food garden, featuring a herb spiral made of waste concrete, and a dry riverbed capturing water, creating microclimates and habitat for insects and lizards, repurposing existing river stones and more of that recycled concrete. Local community planters in Aoraki have been filled with food and native planting provided by Marakai on Kipa Road. Community gardens for schools, hospitals, and coming up St. Hria's Village Centre and a social housing scheme, all using permaculture principles and converting waste to wealth, lawn to lunch, whilst nurturing with nature. So, back to our vision, the what ifs. I realised that all of this is still not happening fast enough to create a mandala of living gardens across Tamaki Makaurau. So I'm seeking others to work with in building this vision into a movement. So far, we have an amazing guild of stakeholders, partners creating gardens. We need more, particularly designers, architects, landscape architects. So in concluding, my final what if is for you. So please close your eyes and imagine. What if all architects, landscape architects, built environment professionals and practitioners became passionate about designing for all life, and our city is then gifted as a garden? Thank you for listening.